What's up, friends? Welcome into a special game preview of Wild Card Weekend, Bills at Jaguars, Sunday, January 11th at 1 p.m. from Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, I usually start these game previews with some news and notes, and I usually start with the power rankings, but the regular season is over, so there are no more power rankings to talk about. The field has been set, and things are about to get a bit crazy this weekend. So, Mafia, you better buckle up. We got 6 games spread out over the course of the next 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We have 2 games coming at you on Saturday, 3, including this Bills game we're going to talk about here, 3 games on Sunday, and the finale Monday night, which has the Texans going to Pittsburgh. So it's going to be a fun weekend. I absolutely can't wait. It's going to be a lot of good football, I think, on the horizon. Well, the Bills finished the regular season with a record of 12-5. Where did this end us? This was good enough for second in the East behind the freaking New England Patriots. So fantastic, great, awesome. Congrats to the Patriots. You know, they played one of the easiest schedules in the NFL, and this is their reward for that schedule. So yes, they were good, but I will still plant my flag that the Patriots are a bit overrated. Anyway, 12-5 is where the Bills finished. This locked the Bills into the 6th seed for the playoffs. And for those that are unaware how the NFL playoffs work, after every round, the playoffs do not reseed. So the Bills came in at 6, and they will leave at 6 no matter how many games, how many rounds they make it through. Who are the other 6 teams? Real quick, we'll just run through Broncos. The Denver Broncos, they secured the number 1 seed, and they have a first round bye. So congrats to Bo Nix and their woeful offense. I don't think they're very good. I'm telling you right now, I do not think the Broncos are very good. New England has the 2 seed. Congrats to the Patriots. The Jaguars, who we will play here shortly in 2 days. The Jaguars are the 3 seed. Pittsburgh, shaking my head if you could see through the microphone. Pittsburgh is somehow the 4 seed because they won the AFC North after that crazy game against the Ravens. But yeah, they're sitting at the 4 seed and get a first round home game. And then Houston is the 5. They will play Pittsburgh. Buffalo's 6, obviously going to Jacksonville. And I always want to call them San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. Jeez, I can't even remember their freaking names. The Chargers are 7. So how, Mafia, how are we feeling about the Bills coming in at 6? And the matchup with the Jags. This is the game I absolutely did not want to see in the first round. If I'm being honest, I think this is the toughest matchup for the Bills of all the teams. As I said on my regular pod, I think this is the hardest game the Bills will have in the AFC playoffs. And let's think about that for a minute. Let's break it down. I kind of already poo-pooed on the Steelers, but are we worried about going to Pittsburgh and playing Aaron Rodgers? No, thank you. New England, you know exactly what you're going to get. The last time we played them, they went up 3 tutties early, and we came back and smacked them in the face. I don't think we ever go down 21 points to the Patriots again. That's not going to happen. So am I worried about New England? No, not worried. I am not concerned at all. Houston, this is the only team that I would be worried about. I think they are a close second behind the Jags, but I think their offense is kind of trash. So the Jags, this is like the unknown. This is like flying blind. I don't know what really to make of this team. And as we go through this preview, you'll probably understand where I'm coming from. But they are flying high right now. They have won 8 straight games. They are the darlings of the league, if you believe all the talk. And they're coming into this game with a ton of momentum. They seem to be firing on all cylinders. So yeah, not ideal position to be in for the Bills to get this team right off Jump Street. I think it's going to be a dynamic matchup. I honestly think the winner of this game is going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. So wild card, game 1. Whoever wins this game, I'm planting my flag. I think the winner of this game goes on to the Super Bowl. What else do we want to talk about as far as news and notes? More news. Bills signed defensive back Daryl Porter Jr. to the practice squad. This is clearly in response to the Maxwell Hairston injury. This injury occurred in the 4th quarter of the Jets game. We were leading 35-0, by the way. So yeah, this injury is really frustrating because I think he's going to be extremely missed. He would have been a key player on the defensive side of the ball going up against this receiving core of the Jaguars. So we shall see if Porter Jr. stays on the practice squad or if he is elevated for this game. Apparently, the Bills have already signed Dane Jackson to the main roster. So most likely, if we need a 4th or 5th cornerback, Dane Jackson is going to be the fill-in. and then Porter Jr. takes his slot on the practice squad. So the bigger issue when we look at the cornerback room, I think this all goes back to the mishandling of the trade deadline. And shortly thereafter, the trade deadline, we had the whole Darius Slay fiasco. I don't remember if I talked about this on the pod before, but we had claimed Slay off waivers or whatever the case may be. And then he said, yeah, no thanks. I don't want to go play for Buffalo. I'm going to retire. So before he came out with that announcement, the Bills went ahead and cut Jamarcus Ingram, who was a cornerback. I think he was like our 4th or 5th cornerback on the roster on the depth chart. We go ahead and cut him. Slay says no thanks. And now we're standing left holding the bag. And now we lose a significant depth piece in the cornerback room. So yeah, once again, great job, Brandon Beane. You, I don't know what you're doing this year. If you listen to my last episode, you know why he clearly won the I Got You in My Sight TB award for the year. So have no fear, Mafia. The other issue we're going to talk about is our awesome kicking fiasco, our kicking scenario. We have no kicker. Maybe we have a kicker. If we do have a kicker, he's 42 years old. What a mess, right? So have no fear. The Bills signed kicker Matthew Wright to the practice squad. I don't know. I feel like every time I come on here, there's either a kicker or a punter issue, and I have to talk about it for each and every game preview. This should never be a highlighted point in a game preview, talking about your kicker. So in comes Matt Wright. He last kicked on November 16th. So what are the chances that he is locked in for Sunday? I mean, he's gone 2 months without a single game kick. I don't know what to say anymore. Prater, he claims that his hammy kind of, tightened up on him because of the cold of the Jets game. The last game at Highmark, he says he should be, and I don't like the wording he uses, but he says, I should be good to go for the game on Sunday in Jacksonville. Obviously, we're going to talk about the weather, but the weather's going to be like 65 degrees. It's going to be perfect. But he's saying he should be ready to go. Can you imagine if Prater is the active kicker for this game and then goes and gets himself hurt in like the first quarter or the first half, and we have to go through the second half of this wild card game with no kicker? I mean, that would just be about the most Billsy thing that could happen. Just add it to the list of just ridiculousness that Bills fans have to endure. But anyway, this is a perfect segment. For the next segment, I usually jump into injuries for the Bills. And as we just talked about, Matt Prater, he's considered day-to-day. And yeah, do we really want to hang our hopes and dreams on the foot of a 42-year-old kicker? I don't know. What could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? So never fear. We're going to trade one Matt for the next. Whether it's Matt Wright or Matt Prater, there's going to be a Matt kicking for us on Sunday. Maxwell Hairston, we just talked about him, considered week to week. He's not going to play. He's not going to play. It's not happening, which just sucks because I think we really could have used his speed, his athleticism to match up with this Jags wide receiving core because they are good. Who else? Terrell Bernard. He has been a did not practice label for the last 2 days, Wednesday, Thursday. He's dealing with the calf injury. And look, if I'm being honest, when he's on the field, it just drags down the defense. So I'm sorry, Bernard, we've talked about this before. Your year has been trash. Let's just put you off to the side and have you there as a break glass in case of an emergency. I will roll with Shaq Thompson from here on out, and I do not want to have to rely on Terrell Bernard to be the linebacker savior for this group. Who else? Josh Palmer. Stop me if you have heard this one before. Has anyone heard the name Josh Palmer? And have we ever considered him a injury risk? I mean, how many times did we talk about him week to week? Josh Palmer can't get and can't stay on the field. So he was a did not practice designee. Again, he's dealing with an ankle injury. Yeah, I don't know. Josh Palmer, what are we doing? But the Bills have already said, McDermott came out early this week and said that they are not activating Ed Oliver off the IR. Now, DeMar Hamlin has had his practice window open, so he has been practicing with the Bills this week. People don't want to see him on the team, and this one I don't get. I'm not saying he's going to be the starting safety, but he has a lot of game experience and a lot of big game experience. Plus, he is a special teams player. Look, it's not going to hurt my feelings if he's the fourth string safety or the third string safety. And if something happens and he needs to step in, he clearly knows the defense. He knows what he's doing. Is he a immense, huge upgrade over anyone. No, he's a significant downgrade to Cole Bishop. But at the same time, I would rather him be back there than some journeyman off the couch who hasn't played in 2 months. So let's pump the brakes with the DeMar hate. I understand where everyone's coming from. If he's my starting safety, yeah, we have problems. If he's my third or fourth string safety, I think we're fine. So just take it easy. But the Ed Oliver thing, he is not going to make his triumphant return for week 1 of the playoffs. And that sucks because I think in this game particularly, he would have been absolutely huge. Outside of that, there were so many starters who rested during the season finale against the Jets that I think most of the little ailments and other issues are going to be pretty good, specifically Josh Allen's foot. There's been 0 reports that it's an issue, and even if it was an issue, I don't think we're ever going to hear about it because or maybe we will once their season is over, hopefully in February. But you're not going to hear that this foot is an issue, at least coming from his mouth or the coaches. So I think everyone who rested is going to be good to go. That's my best guess. On the Jags side of the ball, their offensive tackle Cole Van Lanen has the DMP label. He did not practice on Thursday. Patrick McCarry, who is one of their guards, he's questionable. Those are 2 pieces to their O-line. Not sure what their status is going to be heading into Sunday. So let's turn our attention to themes, storylines heading into the game. Have you all been watching the sports talk, whether it's radio, whether it's ESPN? Oh my gosh, this game can't get here fast enough because the national narratives around this Bills team and Jags teams are just ridiculous. And I'm so tired of it. There's so many national narratives that are just crazy, right? Some of the points I can try and get to, but man, some of these other ones and people's comments out there, there's just no context to the things that they just decide to blast out for the world to listen to. And we're supposed to take them as experts and like, oh, just because a dude played in the league a few years and he was whomever on whatever team does not make him an expert into the psyche of Josh Allen and the whole overall, I don't know, success of the Buffalo Bills. It just drives me crazy. But Wednesday, I heard on the radio the Ravens had recently fired Coach Harbaugh Tuesday, late Tuesday afternoon, early evening, right? So I'm in my car Wednesday morning, and I hear this report that John Harbaugh is going to be a candidate for either the Packers or the Buffalo Bills because the thought was if either one of these coaches loses this weekend, they're going to be fired. And I'm just like, holy cow. Listen, I know there's a lot of mafia out there that don't like Sean McDermott, but can we zoom? I always tell you guys, zoom the camera out and really look at what you're looking at. Josh Allen loves Sean McDermott. Those two are like locked at the waist, locked at the hip. If you really think Sean McDermott is gone, unless we see another 13 seconds game or unless we see such blatant, drastic coaching failures, there is 0 chance Sean McDermott is gone next year. And you want to bring in John Harbaugh to coach this team? Are you crazy? Look at all the missteps that he's had recently handling this Ravens team. How many games have they blown? How many terrible performances has his teams put out on the field? And you want to go from McDermott to John Harbaugh? Just make it make sense. I don't know. So I just feel like we have such shark-infested waters that we're treading in, that we're living in. I mean, the first round isn't even over, and you have people plotting the demise of 2 extremely successful head coaches in Sean McDermott and Matt LaFleur from the Packers. LaFleur is good. McDermott is good. This is madness. I know McDermott isn't perfect. He definitely has his flaws, but are you serious? Like, if you think for a second Josh Allen doesn't have a say in who his coach is, you are delusional. And like I said, the only way the coach is gone immediately after the playoffs, barring some 13-second coaching debacle where it's clear to everyone in the world that Sean McDermott is the reason they lost this game, the only reason he's gone is if the team goes 4-13 next year. In my opinion, Brandon Beane is way more on the hot seat than Coach McDermott. Way more. So this nonsense that Coach McDermott is fighting for his job is just ridiculous. The other narrative is this pressure on Josh Allen thing. And this just is crazy. And the story is the narrative is this: Josh has to win now because there's no Lamar, there's no Patrick Mahomes, there's no Joe Burrow. All 3 quarterbacks that are in the same tier as him, if you want to call it that, are not in the playoffs. And so this idea that Josh has all this pressure on him because these 3 other quarterbacks aren't in the playoffs is just kind of stupid too. I get it, but if you really look at it, Do you think this Bills team is as good a Bills team as what we've had since 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024? If you ask me, this is probably the worst of the four. So, yeah. But at the same time, the same people saying Josh has all of this pressure then say the Bills have no chance to win this game. And we'll get to that in a minute, but it's crazy. They're like, oh, the Jags are flying high. They're going to beat the Bills. The Bills can't stop the run. It's like people just say whatever they want. They throw out these narratives and they don't really do their research. I'm not sure they watch half the games because the Bills clearly have stopped the run in the last quarter of the season. It's kind of crazy, but the Bills are like, oh, they can't stop the run. So here comes Travis Etienne. And I'm like, did he turn into Derrick Henry overnight? Did I miss something? Because the Jags don't run the ball well and we play the pass pretty decently. Now, I'm not saying we're gonna trounce them, but holy cow, like you can't say on one side that Josh Allen better carry this team to the Super Bowl because it's now or never, and all the pressure is on him, and then turn around and say the Jags are going to beat him. I don't know. It's crazy. Some of the narratives out there, and then they go, well, he needs to carry the team, but he has no wide receivers. Well, make up your mind. Which is it? So apparently he's just going to tuck it and run it for a tutty every single play, and which is fine. If that's the way we want to win, great. But yes, can Josh carry this team on his back? Absolutely. Sometimes he literally just wills the Bills to win the games, and his playoff record alone is almost flawless. And you can't attribute some of the losses to him, but he has a ton of playoff experience. But now it's go time, and this is going to take all 53. Like I said, this roster of the last 4 years, I think this could be the weakest, specifically the wide receiver room. And once again, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but that falls directly on the shoulders of Brandon Beane. And it's just this idea that we live in an era where unless a quarterback wins a Super Bowl, they're terrible, they suck, and their whole career is garbage. And that's so frustrating because in the last 10 years, only 3 quarterbacks have ever come out of the AFC and gone to the Super Bowl. 3. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow's only done it once. So you take out Burrow, you have 2 quarterbacks in the entire AFC who have ever been to the Super Bowl in the last decade. But all the other quarterbacks are trash? Okay. Get out of here. Look, I want JA-17 to lead this team to the promised land more than anyone else. But if he never does that, which will make me terribly sad, it doesn't mean that he wasn't one of the greatest to ever play the position. So I'm just tired of that argument that if he's not great, if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, whatever. And then the Trevor Lawrence narrative. Look, I'm not going to crap on T-Law, okay? But you want to tell me that Trevor Lawrence right now isn't the biggest coin toss of the game? Because I feel like where you land on your feelings for Trevor Lawrence kind of leads you to how you think this game is going to go. Now, the narrative on Trevor Lawrence is he has found the answers. And all they want to look at is the last 8 games. All wins, great, awesome. I'm not taking wins away from you. He has been great. He's accounted for 24 touchdowns over 8 games. Not too shabby. But that's what everyone hangs their hat on, this single 8-game stretch. He has been in the league since 2021, and they want to just hang all their hopes and dreams on this 8-game stretch. Yes, I think they're good. Yes, they have won some good games in this run, but look at how quickly we just pushed the entirety of the rest of his career off to the side. He's been inconsistent. Sometimes he's looked downright dreadful. Yes, he's shown flashes, don't get me wrong. But his playoff record? Let's talk about his playoff record because we want to put T-Law against Josh Allen, right? Because this is how we do it. We go, it's Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence, and everyone says, doesn't remember that there's actually defenses on the field. But so, yeah, Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence. Well, one has played 13 games and has been one of the most successful playoff quarterbacks of all time. The other one, Trevor Lawrence, he's played 2 games, and he never should have even gotten to the second game because he threw 4 picks in the first half of that first playoff game. 4 picks against a Chargers team who always want a Charger, and they blow it just like always. So the Chargers got out to this nice lead. Trevor Lawrence almost got benched in this game. And then by some grace of God, they managed to pull out of the depths of hell and come back and win that game. And we're going to praise him for his career. Okay, fine. You want to just look at this 8-game stretch? By all means, go for it. But y'all seem to forget the Trevor Lawrence of the last, 5 years? I'm not saying he's not good, but holy cow, can we pump the brakes a little bit? How is he going to perform in the playoffs against a veteran Bills team who has pretty much seen everything you can imagine thrown at them? Everything. The experience on both sides of the ball sometimes just outweighs what people want to consider a freight train. So let's just take it easy. Like I said, 18 playoff games. Allen has won 13 playoff games, and Allen has won 7 of them. And sometimes the playoff pressure can get to you. So let's hope on Sunday that's the case. But anyway, X factors to the game. Strength on strength is what I wrote down first. And that is specifically the Jags defense is pretty good statistically against the run. They're actually fantastic. But on the flip side, the Bills are fantastic at running the ball. So who is going to blink first? This could be the key to the game. Do the Bills go at them with their absolute best? Do we see power on power Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock? Do we see power on power? Do we see what happens? Or do they change up their scheme? Do they look to attack this Jags defense through the air? Look, the issue is this. Throughout the regular season, when the Bills, when they have needed it in the game, when the run game isn't working, when the teams make it their focus to shut down James Cook and they are able to do so, the times the Bills have needed to heavily rely on the passing game, it's been kind of a disaster. But look at the games where they were forced into their pass. Who was the missing link? I've talked about this for months now. The caveat is that Dalton Kincaid, he is the key. He is the gatekeeper to this passing offense, and he has been hurt in the majority of those games. I feel like I am repeating myself. I feel like a broken record. Here I am yet again. The passing game runs through DK86, Dalton Kincaid. He absolutely needs to be healthy. He needs to play more than 35% of the offensive snaps. And when he's healthy, when he's available, he is a dominant threat in the middle of the field. What does that allow the Bills to do? If they feed him the ball, if they make him the focal point of this passing offense, I think it opens so many lanes for James Cook, and I think we can get rolling. So maybe the Bills, hey, if I'm Joe Brady, and you all know how I feel about Joe Brady, if I'm Joe Brady, maybe they come out looking to establish the pass, work the middle of the field, and get the ground game flowing off that, not the other way around. People are expecting them to come out and just go right at the run defense, strength on strength. Hey, let's ebb and flow. Let's see how this works. Go at them with the pass, open up the middle of the field, get those linebackers who are very good on the Jag side of the ball, get them to back up just a little and allow that breathing room for James Cook to go to work, and I think we're going to have success. So I think this is a chess game. I think it's fascinating, and I think this is a huge key. So flipping right off that, coinciding with this issue, Joe Brady, here we go again, old friend, you and me. We are talking about you again. Straight off being nominated for the illustrious I Got You in My Sights TB award, he makes the X Factor list yet again. I'm pretty sure if I went back and looked at every game preview I did for the season, I'm pretty sure he's been on this X Factor segment for every single game. Please, Joe, please don't turn into Sleepy Joe for this game. I need you upright, fully aware of what's going on, fully functional. I want the guy who was in the booth smashing his clipboard on the table, throwing his headset. I want that guy. I want to see the passion. I want that to come out for the playoffs. I don't want to see the 5 plays of doom. I don't want to see any more screens to Shakir or whomever. No more screens and pray. No more screens and pray. It's time to go. You pulled out a gem now and again over the last few weeks, but you've also dropped some pretty big turds. For example, the Eagles game, the final drive, you start with a 3rd and 10 screen pass. Oh my gosh. I wanted to put my fist through the television. Take that screen pass, specifically on 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, and blast it to the sun. He could be calling plays for the last time for the Buffalo Bills if he drops a big dudski this Sunday afternoon. What other X factors? Defensively, we have got to generate a pass rush without bringing extra blitzers. T-Law, he's been good against the blitz, and their wide receivers are good. So, hey, you want to talk about the trade deadline? Jacoby Myers, they made the play for Jacoby Myers at the trade deadline, and he has completely revitalized, completely rejuvenated the wide receiver room in Jacksonville. Thanks a lot, once again, Brandon Beane. But he was brought in to be a complementary piece, and he has been crushing it. And what he's done is he's kind of reset the whole depth chart to their wide receiver room. He has essentially brought Brian Thomas Jr. down a peg or two, which can be very scary because he's a great player. You slot him down and you take some pressure off of him, and now he can just do very specific things. And look out, because now you got kind of a deadly combination in their wide receiver room. They got a bunch of good guys who are excellent at catching the ball. The Bills D-line, they got to get after T-Law. They got to stay disciplined in their lanes. He has shown that he can tuck it. He can go. He can beat you with his legs. It's like playing Lamar light. Obviously, he's not Lamar, but he can go. Don't over-pursue. Stay disciplined, and I think we'll be okay. Contain, right? What else? This leads right into the secondary. Christian Benford, Trey White. Help us. You are our only hope. It's like the Star Wars line, right? Help us, Obi-Wan. Like Christian Benford, Trey White. We got no Maxwell Hairston. You two are it. It is time to go. Trey, this could be your last run at a title. You got to lock it down. You got to call upon all the experience, all the wisdom, all the knowledge. Cole Bishop, Jordan Poyer, you have been solid to great in the second half of the year. Keep it up for 4 more games starting Sunday at 1 o'clock. What else? What other X factors? I got to talk about it, but the kicking game, holy cow, the Jags have such an advantage of every area of the kicking game. As soon as the offense takes the field, I feel like the Jags are in field goal range. This dude, Cam Little, well, this dude is like booming kicks from the Florida-Georgia line, and I'm not talking about the country duo. So if it comes down to kicker versus kicker, we are screwed because Cam Little will force Matt Prater into some retirement community before the afternoon. I am praying this game does not come down to a kickoff between Cam Little and Matt Prater. We are Dunskies. What else? It's easy to say turnovers. Everybody says turnovers. It's like, oh, don't turn the ball over and you're going to win the game. Yeah, but how about we turn back the clock instead? Let's turn back the clock and let's turn Trevor Lawrence, good old T-Law, back to his old self, get him back into his old ways where he's anxious, where he's frazzled, where he's chucking the rock all over the field to the other team, force him into making stupid decisions that he's known for once or twice a game early in the season, last year and the 4 years prior. If we can force, not turnovers, but force T-Law into old T-Law, I think we can make him make mistakes. And if that happens, I think we could get out to a lead. If we get out to a lead in this one, I kind of think it's over. Stress meter, I always talk about this each and every game. The stress meter, it's been a roller coaster as I have been looking at this game, as I've been breaking it down during the week. It started right around a 5. I think by Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, it got up to like an 8 or a 9. I was buying into the hype. I was buying into all the hype, and I was feeding into it, and I was getting myself all worked up, and I'm just like, hold on a second. And now, since I have like really started to think about this, and kind of I've calmed myself back down. And now I'm right back around a 5 or a 6. I respect this Jags team. I really do. But I also put a ton of stock in the playoff experience that the Bills are bringing to the table in this game. It's the playoffs. So this is a completely different scale, right? I don't see the stress meter going below a 5 unless we're playing the Steelers. So it's pressure time. We've waited all season for this week right here. It's the perfect ideal scenario. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Like I said at the beginning, I think this is the worst of the matchups, but it is what it is. And this is what we're dealing with. There was talk at the beginning of the season and the offseason. The drive was for the number 1 seed. The drive was to get that first round bye, and then just roll, right? That path was laid out with roses, and the Bills decided, I'm going to light that path on fire, and I'm going to take a much more challenging, difficult way to do this. So let's do this the hard way. So what happened during the season? We saw stupid losses. We saw bad luck. We saw terrible performances. All that crap has led us to the 6th seed, led us to this point. But ultimately, throw it all out the window. It's completely irrelevant. We are the 6th seed, and it is time to see what we got. So it all comes down to this, Mafia. You know how I end these game previews. I always end them with a prediction. So here we go. The Bills are favored by 1.5 points on the road in Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida this Sunday at 1 p.m. This game will kick off the first of 3 wildcard games for Sunday, and I think they all are going to be really, really good games. The forecast for this game from Jacksonville is going to be perfect. For January, it is going to be 67 degrees, right around there. No rain, no hurricanes, perfect weather. Let's go, right? The Bills will be rocking the white jersey, blue pants, and the white helmet as the visiting team. So what's the good call? Or what's the call? What do you think I'm going to say? Well, as I said, I've been kind of all over the map with this game. I think it's going to be a really good game. Like I said, I respect the hell out of the Jags. What they have been able to accomplish up to this point of the season, they played really well. But ultimately, I think all the freaking national Jacksonville love has gone way too far. And we want to talk about the 8-game win streak. Well, let's break it down for a quick second. They beat the Chargers to start the streak. Yeah, they beat the Chargers. But I looked into the stats on this game, and like the quarterback, he threw for like 60 yards. So, okay, did you think the Chargers would ever do that again? But okay, they beat the Chargers. Who do they play week the second week of the streak? The Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals. They beat them by 3. Then they played the Titans. Oh, congrats. You beat lowly Tennessee Titans. Then they go, I will say this is a good win. They beat the Colts, but again, this game was against 95-year-old Phillip Rivers. So congrats, you beat an old man coming out of retirement. Then they beat the Jets. Congratulations. I will give them this one. They beat the Denver Broncos in Denver, and then they finished again with the Colts yet again, and then another Titans victory. So you beat Phillip Rivers, old man Philly, twice, and you beat the Titans twice. I don't know. Yeah, there's some good wins in there, but I'm not buying it. I'm not propping them up on this pedestal. The narrative of the Bills' demise has been way overblown, and frankly, I won't stand for it. But I think right now, I think this Bills team is battle tested. I think they have been preparing for this 4-game stretch since this time last year. I don't think it's going to be a one and done in the playoffs for JA17 and company. I have the Bills winning this game on the road 35-24. I think they will go on to the divisional round, and we will sit and wait patiently to see who we will play in round 2. So there you have it. Thanks for tuning into the 3Ts and this wild card game preview. Enjoy the game on Sunday, and as always, go Bills. So until next time, whether it's ripping packs, breaking tables, or dropping elbows, keep doing what you love. And as always, go Bills.